What's up, guys? It's Neil from Geauga Firearms Academy. Thanks for watching. Today we got a little spicy one for you. Today I'm going to talk about some concepts that I brought up in many classes before. One of the things I like to say is that the phrase "I wouldn't want to bring a knife to a gunfight" is actually inaccurate. So we're going to show that today. Now, of course, there's going to be other factors involved in this, but we're talking about very close quarters where it's more realistic. We recently did a video about defensive drawing. We'll put a link in the bottom there. You guys can check that out. But it was basically explaining the importance of having gun retention over how fast I can draw, because at the end of the day, you're not going to ever outdraw a drawn gun. So today we're going to talk about knives and other tools and distance, and I'm talking about reactionary gap. So let's get after it. Also, you guys, most of you are not subscribed watching this, so if you want to help us out and support the channel, please like, subscribe, and give us a good comment or a bad comment. It doesn't really matter. The comment section is always very spicy and interesting to read nonetheless. Well, guys, as you can see, we have legendary Daryl back with us today. So if you haven't seen any of his videos that he's done with us, we've done a whole bunch on, what did we do? We did gunsmithing stuff. And
gun cleaning stuff.
Carry stuff. So he's going to be helping us out today. He's going to be my buddy to get shafted here and shanked. Is that the same thing?
Yep.
So let's do this. Most important thing, safety today. Since we're going to be kind of going hands-on and doing some stuff with fake guns and knives, I'm going to show you the tools we're going to be working with today. This is a training knife. Basically, it's got felt on it. And in just a minute here, you're going to see there's some color on it. There's going to be some color marking. So if the knife makes contact, you're going to actually be able to see that on Daryl. Obviously, he's going to sacrifice this shirt for today if I'm successful. And then Daryl's got to show him what you're working with here. So he's just got a standard blue gun. It's plastic. It's not even a real gun. It's not. I wanted to do it with airsoft, but I figured that might be too spicy for the powers that be. So we just have a blue gun. He's got it in a holster. Doesn't really matter. Is that where you normally carry?
That is where I normally carry.
And I have no other accoutrements on me. Nothing else. You have anything else on you?
That's it.
That's it. So we are going to bring one real knife here in just a second, just to demonstrate something, which is not going to be any type of physical conflict, just a concept. So here's the first concept. I do this in all the classes, and Daryl doesn't even know what we're going to do yet. This is cold. Hopefully I don't have to mess this up so you can see what it is raw. So this is, again, not obviously a real gun, but if I were to point this gun at you, Daryl, and by the way, for all the people at home, if you guys ever want to practice anything or do anything with guns, super big important part of this, do not, I repeat, do not, while you're practicing, put your finger in the trigger guard. Okay, one, it should never be there anyway, but two, this is a great way to do serious damage and break your finger in multiple places by people doing stuff. I've seen it happen. So make sure, I don't care if you have an improper grip where you wrap your fingers around or you keep it up here, it doesn't really matter, but please do not put your fingers in there, just as a general safety measure, because especially if we get the dudes together, they tend to go a little harder than they should, and bad things happen. So anyway, back to what I was saying here. So Daryl's here. This is the situation he happens to be in. I happen to have a gun right now. If I were to point this at you, what would you do in general? I don't care how, you don't have to be anything ninja about it. Just give me a general idea.
What are you looking for? You looking for a wallet? You looking for a gun? What can I help you with? Is there anything I can do?
Okay, so now stop. Perfect. Good. Come over here. So right now, Daryl grabbed the gun. He took me offline. Again, we haven't rehearsed this. I didn't know what he was going to do. Hopefully he didn't punch me in the face or something. But he brought the gun over here. Now, let me ask you a question. Did you have any concerns whatsoever about touching the gun?
No.
Okay, and that's because this is the dangerous end of this, and as long as we can get this away, like if I were here, just move it anywhere that's not on you. Great, and I press the trigger no, keep your hands there. I press the trigger. Obviously, I can only do it one time because he's holding the slide, but even if I could shoot it multiple times, it's not at him. So he's just trying to get this muzzle out of alignment. Never was a concern. Now, where is this all going? So I always talk about the effectiveness of a knife. So now if I take a real knife, okay, and I did the same thing, and I opened this knife, and I said, grab this knife now, Daryl's not going to be too enthused to do that. This is a much more difficult tool to take away from somebody. I did not change my skill level at all. I didn't do anything super ninja here. All I did was, this is going to be, someone's going to be more willing to grab this and take this offline, and that's probably the first thing you're going to do, because that's the way they're going to survive, as opposed to trying to take a knife from somebody. For this first exercise, we're just going to do something where Daryl has his firearm, that blue gun that you saw there, and I'm not going to have anything on me. We're going to be in a quote disagreement right here. As soon as Daryl attempts to go for his tool, whatever it is, I'm going to try to stop him from doing that. We're going to try to keep this playful but reasonable. And we're going to see how effective or ineffective it is at a close distance, because I know that people are like, well, I can draw so fast. Well, what would be the most important thing right now? When I talk about bad breath distance, we have to create some type of space here. Okay, so we're going to show you how this is going to work here. So Daryl and I are in a conflict. Whenever you start moving, I'm just going to assume that it is go time.
All right, well.
The point is immediately I see Daryl going for something. He went, I went, we started getting jostled. This is my natural reaction. I got behind him. Either way, did you get the gun pointed at me at all?
I did not.
Okay, let's take the gun out one more time.
Sure.
So pointed at me. So if I get my hands on here, go. Okay, so it's a huge struggle. And he has two hands on the gun. I have two hands on the gun. It's not working out so well. So let's look at the difference with the knife. So now we're going to this training knife. If you guys have never seen one of these, again, this is just a plastic knife, but it has some felt on it with, as you can see, red marker. And so if it touches your skin, it's going to make a mark, okay? For all my knife people out there, if there are knife experts that want to watch this, I know this comment's coming. If we're going to use this for defensive purposes, we're trying to poke, not slash, okay? But for illustration purposes, I may do a little bit more slashing so you can see the marks and see the contact. My point is, so far, Daryl has not been successful at making any real contact, getting a muzzle even in my direction. I mean, the first time I was literally behind him, okay? And we're not using like tremendous skill. It's just hard to do. It's just physically hard. Like, you're trying to hold something, you're trying to defend yourself. We weren't even actually striking each other, so there's a whole lot of elements here. So we're going to see if I can make better contact with this than he was able to do with his gun. I have a couple different carry methods for myself when it comes to knives. There's a TDI knife out there that I really like a lot, and it kind of looks like a triangle. It's kind of an angle deal, and it just represents a punch because, again, we're trying to poke, not slash. Oh, and I keep an appendix. It's the only time I carry anything appendix because I have a gun at the 4 o'clock. I also carry a folding knife, typically where my right pocket is. So for this illustration, we're going to have a fixed blade knife in the same location, trying to keep things somewhat close. I know everyone's going to lose their mind, but you could still carry a fixed blade there. It doesn't really make that big of a difference. What does make a difference is how I'm able to either perform with this or not. And again, this is unscripted. I don't know what we're going to do here. I'm just going to be the guy defending myself, and Daryl's going to be the aggressor, just like you saw last time. The only difference is I have a knife. So basically, when I move, you're going to try to stop me from getting this knife.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And again, as you guys notice, every time I talk to anybody, just naturally my hands are here. Not that I think Daryl's a threat to me normally. It's just a natural thing that we do, and I would recommend encourage you guys to keep this up here. And why is that? It's so that if Daryl does anything goofy right now, oh, you all right?
Oh, I'm good, dude.
I don't want to jam your finger. You might be able to leave that in, I don't know.
Yeah.
So if my hands are here, and he does something, my hands are already up here. A lot of people have this tendency, like right now, Daryl's just, because obviously there's no real threat here, people naturally lend down here. But if there's any type of confrontation or anything like that, my hands are always up here, okay? The other thing I will tell you about this is, if I were to get into a confrontation with Daryl right now and I wanted to fight him for sure, I'll be getting a good position here. I'd have my hands up ready to go. But if Daryl stands just like this and I do this, any bystander, any video, who's the aggressor, right? I talk about this all the time. So instead I put my hands up like, whoa, 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 but I'm in the same position. Honestly, I'd rather, instead of doing this, I would much rather do this, especially for those that haven't had a lot of training. A good chance you're gonna break your wrists, your knuckles by hitting a person if you don't have any experience with that. So you're definitely gonna be able to do repeated strikes with an open palm. So nonetheless, this puts me in a position where everyone thinks I'm not the aggressor for sure, because I'm not, and I can defend myself, okay? So just a couple of housekeeping things. So when I go for this knife, Daryl's going to try to stop me from getting this knife. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Hey, man, what's wrong with you?
Nothing wrong with me.
All right. So let's take a look at Daryl. When I pulled my fancy knife out of my bag, I don't know if you guys caught it on camera, I kept this in there just to keep the color from the inside of my packet, or my pants. So I had to pull that off. So I actually pulled this out, then pulled this off. So let's look at Daryl. What did we get from, by the way, kind of winded, right? For just a little
winded, yes.
Physical combat, resistance, and running are two different things. I know a lot of people, especially from jiu-jitsu, you know, they can run a marathon, but put them on a mat, and man, they're gassed. We haven't discussed anything that's just happened. What say you? What do you feel about that?
I got some holes.
You got some holes.
Yeah, definitely a human sprinkler at this point. Like, that was a lot. That's hard to stop.
Okay. And again, it's not like you can just grab the blade. I mean, that or getting stabbed, I guess you would. But at the end of the day, I'm not using any special techniques here. I'm just like, doing swinging wild. Obviously more effective. Did Daryl get the muzzle towards me at any time? No. Did I get him? Yes. So now we're going to talk about the reactionary gap. We're starting to clean Daryl off because we're going to do another drill here, but he didn't even realize he had paint on or marker on the inside of his hand. So during the scuffle, he actually touched the blade, which would be obviously not great. So we got him all over the place. Got him on the back of the neck. So.
What service?
There you go. For those of you that have never heard of it, Tooler, Dennis Tooler, he was a SWAT officer. This is back, I believe, in the 80s. This drill is still used today. It's not perfect, but it does explain quite a bit about reactionary gap. And the way it was really set up was Daryl, whoever, would be a on-duty officer in a retention holster, and then a person would be 21 feet. So we have two cones out here showing that distance of 7 yards. And basically the person who's the aggressor would just take off whenever they want. And the proof was that they would be able to stab them or physically make contact with them far before that officer could get their gun out and actually use it. So Daryl is going to be carrying, like most people would, as an EDC type of setup. So he's got his gun up front here, and it's going to be under some type of concealment. I'm already going to have my knife out. I'm going to be at one cone. Daryl's going to be at the other cone. I'm pretty fast, but nothing amazing. And we're going to see if Daryl can get his gun out and point it at me. What we'll call is, take your gun off for a second. Just for the deal, if he levels the gun at me in any fashion, bring it back closer to yourself. In any way, we're going to call that successful on Daryl's part. Keep in mind, this is probably where it's going to be a little bit of an interesting conversation. Just because I was shot doesn't necessarily mean that I'm out of the fight. Lots of stories we're not going to get into, but in reality, I've seen it myself. It's not like the movies. People have a lot of energy still left, even if they're mortally wounded. So go ahead and put that back, and we're going to start this drill. So here, this is 21 feet, 7 yards. Again, Daryl's just going to be down there. I'm going to start running at some point. I got the knife out. We're going to see if I can get to him before he can get me. One thing I want to point out here, the unfair advantage is Daryl already knows this is happening, and he already knows what's going on in real life. That's never going to happen. So it's kind of an unfair advantage. Got me. So we'll have to look at that in film. I think it was pretty close. One of the advantages that Daryl had on that one is he actually backed up, which is, again, I get it. It's a human reaction, what we're trying to get out of him. So if he couldn't move, the whole purpose of this is to demonstrate just a distance and a gap. But I'd say it's pretty close. Nonetheless, I think at the end of the day, if he's getting a blade shoved into him versus potentially shooting me, that's still going to be a tough one, because again, I'm still going to be on him. And once he fires that one round, as we saw, we're going to get into a tussle. And so even with a gun, so pull your gun out for a second.
I'm pretty sure you actually had your hand on the slide by the time I pulled it out anyway. It would have been a one-shot go.
But let's say, so just level it at me. So let's say he did shoot me, and then we're here. Now this slide, no matter what happens, he's not going to be able to shoot this again. And now he's got a big problem. Right? So as I'm doing this, I'm just going to start going after him, right? So it's going to be a problem, is my point. We're going to do it one more time. We're going to try to keep Daryl from moving. Maybe I'm going to tie his feet together or something. We'll show it one more time. So I had a great idea. It was actually Daryl's, but I'm going to take it anyway. So what we're going to do here is kind of do more of a distracted reality setup. So Daryl's going to be facing away from me. He's going to be talking to you, the viewer, so like you're having a conversation with Daryl. And then I'm going to be back at the same 21-foot mark. As soon as I start running, you, the viewer, which will be Kim in this case, is going to say, watch out, or he's coming, or something like that. And then Daryl's going to have to turn around and see what's going on. And we're going to see what happens.
Go!
And I still moved. I can't not move. So Neil's been training me to move for years. So me trying to not move is a little bit difficult.
The one thing too I want to bring up, and I think one of the things that shines here a little bit of success was Daryl was talking about, is that he's trained for a long time. He's been with me since almost day one, so for almost 10 years now we've been working together. He's my RSO, I'm one of my right-hand guys that comes into training and shooting in the whole 9 yards. So that's actually working to his benefit. You take somebody who just has been shooting their whole life or hasn't anything real training, it's a game changer. I want to mix this up a little bit. We're going to add to this distraction drill. I thought it was really cool. So what we're going to do now is, since Daryl it's hard to keep him from moving, which is a good thing, but not for this video as much. Although it still shows reality, we're going to have an object. So this is going to be the car that's in the way, which you should probably wash. You're a disgusting human being. But he's going to be against this car right here. He's got nowhere to go. He's going to be talking to you, the viewer, and then I'm going to be, if you pan over there for a second, there's another cone over there. Again, that's measured out at the 21 foot mark. And as you can see, Daryl, what are you doing?
I'm holding my phone.
Yeah, he's holding an object. So this is again, reality. He's going to have to do something with this, and it adds to the level of realism.
I'll be paying attention to you, and we'll be sitting here talking and blah, 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 and I'm going to be playing on my phone.
Done got him that time. All right, guys, I hope you got something from that. Daryl, did you get anything from this?
Neck wound.
Overall, what did you think about this demonstration, I guess?
Actually,
you really didn't know what we were going to do. I didn't really give you a whole lot of them. We were going to do some knife defense stuff.
I had no idea when I came in here. It was interesting. Like, it's definitely, what's the word? Makes you think.
Yeah.
You read about it, you can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. It's not the same as being here.
Yep.
Especially when you put something in my hand and made it every day and off to the side, like, it's not as easy as it looks.
Well, Daryl, thank you, my man. I appreciate you.
Anytime.
You have to donate that shirt, I guess, or something. You guys know where to find us here on YouTube. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Rumble. We put all our premium content on Patreon. Also, if I haven't mentioned before, if you're the $25 member, that is a credit towards classes. So, for example, if you're on there with 4 months, that's $100 off a class if you want to take one with us, plus all the content that you get. Until next time, remember, it's always better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.